all behind. So Sherwood Honda has the SUV with plenty of room for all you want with you. Think Honda CR-V, the Honda Pilot, or maybe even a Ridgeline truck. With this kind of lineup, you can go where you want and bring all you want with you. You sure would make it easy to leave your cares behind by starting at Sherwood Honda.
You haven't set your lineup yet, right? It's Fantasy Frenzy with Halley and Douglas on Sports 1440.
Presented by Wilhauk Beef Jerky, home of Alberta's best beef jerky.
$11:01. Good morning, and thank you for joining us here on Fantasy Frenzy, brought to you by Wilhauk Beef Jerky, the home of Alberta's best beef jerky, online at wilhaukbeefjerky.com. Only available in Leduc. Go check them out. Connor Halley, Brandon Douglas, and Josh Fenwick with you here from the Sports 1440 studios in West Edmonton Mall. Thank you for joining us, whether it is on the AM dial, maybe it's iHeartRadio, Tune in, Radio Player Canada. We appreciate it. Or if you're watching on YouTube, Facebook, X, Instagram, or Twitch, thanks again. Hit that like button if you're able to do so. If you're interested, I like the YouTube route myself because you can get in on the chat, or I've already got in. David Njoku signing with the Chargers. Sports 1440 AM on YouTube is where you can do it. And if you have any questions, let us know at 1-833-401-1440. We will happily send you in the right direction. Lots to get to here on the show today. Of course, we'll take your text, 1-833-401-1440. Email us at connor@sports1440.ca, Brandon at sports1440.ca. We got the salesman extraordinaire, SKS, just rolling in the studio here.
Just came over to check on Duke, make sure he's doing okay.
You doing okay, dude? Crack that mic.
Yeah, I'm okay. I'm doing okay.
Licking your wounds.
Yeah. I'm licking my wounds because Sean and Eddie beat us in our match play.
I love them like baby seals.
Wow.
It was
It's too bad. And a hole in one. Not bad. Not bad.
Not for me. What
Well,
do I care. I'm just kidding.
The other team that won.
With a head cover.
Well, and I heard Duke shot his the other way.
On that hole, yeah.
On that hole.
That's where Sean and I were when Eddie and Kevin pulled up to the green and get the confirmation it was in the hole. We were over on the previous fairway getting my tee shot. Chop, just, pitching it back over the trees, getting it back on the right hole.
That was...
Win the hole.
Oh.
That was the sad.
You guys Carius didn't win the hole?
Well, Carius won, but the game's called high-low. So since I had the lowest score on the hole, it was a wash. Like Kevin had the sorry. Kevin had the lowest score. I had the highest, right? We're talking golf, right, Connor?
Yeah.
-4, 4 under, whatever that whole debacle was.
-4.
-4.
Yeah.
-4.
That's what that
so
is.
as a result of my poor play on that hole, we didn't even score the match point. It was a wash. Tough scene.
Well,
Tough scene.
whatever. In 20 years, nobody will remember who won or lost. Just that Carius got a hole in one.
That's right.
That's the story of the day. Made its way to social media. That was SKS, elite salesman here at Stingray.
Herb Tarlick, if you're a fan of whatever that old show, something Cincinnati, the guy that would always wear the weird plaid jackets.
WKRP?
Yeah.
Yeah. If you're that show, that's like a lot of the reason that some of the older characters got into radio, I think, was because of that show.
I'd believe it.
Not you or I, though. Not us. We'll talk some hockey today on the show. Duke's Ducks evening up their series with the Vegas Golden Knights, the Montreal Canadiens. Fun one last night. They get the win with relative ease, but the end of the game, it got a little raucous, which was good to see, though. I enjoyed that. That can make a non-hockey fan a hockey fan very quickly. NBA playoffs are rolling on last night. Timberwolves pick up a big win over the Spurs, who were without Victor Wembanyama, who was throwing elbows out there. Now, no suspension, no fine. He was ejected from the game, but that's going to be it. So that's good news for the San Antonio Spurs. Tonight, you got the Cavs and Pistons. Detroit up 2-1 in that series, and the Thunder Lakers. OKC looking to complete the sweep in Tinseltown in the NHL. Avs and Wild. This one, we got a series all of a sudden, Duke. The Colorado Avalanche had won 6 straight playoff games going to Minnesota earlier on. They fall. And for the Minnesota Wild, like it wasn't like, hey, we kind of squeaked that one out. Nice 5-1 win. Kaprizov had 3 points. So Wallstedt was great, bouncing back with a .972 save percentage. Now, you might have the Avalanche fans saying, hey, we didn't play our best game. That's fair. But I'm really intrigued to see how both teams bounce back. And then, of course, if you missed it over the weekend, the Carolina Hurricanes completing the sweep against the Flyers. This is interesting because there's always that like rest versus rust debate in sport. I asked Gregor, I think it was Sean Brown we asked as well. He's kind of on the side of just get that rest when you can. For Freddie Anderson, it's great. I mean, he's got a chance to rest in between series here. Not coming off his best performance, but the rest will go a long way. Jackson Blake was terrific, got the overtime winner. And now the Carolina Hurricanes are waiting for the winner between Buffalo and Montreal. In that series, I would think I'm going to go, 6-7, we're hoping. Duke, what were your takeaways over the weekend? Lots going on.
There was a lot going on. Let's start with the Hurricanes and Flyers. That is the first series concluded here in round number 2. And you give the Flyers some credit, right? They had a season where they overachieved, exceeded a lot of expectations. I'm sure both internally, no matter what they'll tell you, and our goals win a Stanley Cup. Come on, like you're keeping your actual goals a little more realistic. I'm sure they had a goal of making the playoffs or playing competitive games down the stretch. They did that. They even win a first round matchup against a big time in-state rival and defeating some legends of the game in the process with this younger upstart team. Dan Vladar was excellent. He was a team MVP. There's a lot of positives to take away, but they, despite playing a couple close games, a couple overtime games in this series against the Hurricanes, it was never really that close in my eyes, despite the final results maybe indicating that some of the games were. This Hurricanes team is just a well-oiled machine. I've said it once. I'll say it 1,000 times more. They play the system to a T, unlike any team that I have really seen probably since like the Trap Devils. And the Hurricanes, they don't trap, right? They have a reputation of playing boring hockey, but that's just because of how systematic they are. Freddie Anderson has been great. He said wasn't necessarily his best overall performance in that elimination game, but he still leads the entire playoffs in every goalie statistical category. And when you go back down his track record, that really shouldn't come as a surprise. He's played in the playoffs all but 2 years of his entire career. And that's usually, and it's not just spot duty relief periods, like minimum of 5 games every single season. And with the exception, I think this total 2 or 3 years, we're talking 9-10 save percentage, a GAA under 2.5. Like his playoff numbers, even those years in Toronto, were actually pretty sterling. And the biggest thing for him has just been staying healthy come playoff time. He seems to get banged up. He's battled injuries his entire career, and some of them have been the more traditional kind of knee problems and hip problems, but also he's had like blood clots and stuff like that, which is obviously concerning. So the fact that the Hurricanes are taking care of business so tidily and in such short order, man, it's a huge win for the team. Yeah, any days off or good days off in the playoff. Forget the rest versus rust thing in this specific case because of how relatively easly they've carved their way through 8 wins. But the biggest thing is like it's almost as if your starting goaltenders just starting fresh again and can hopefully get through an entire. I don't expect them to sweep the next round, but if we're talking 6-7 games, can hopefully get through the entirety of it without getting banged up.
Yeah, because I mean, it is a factor. It's a storyline in every series that you can play 4 consecutive games, right? But you're doing 6-7 potentially in a short span with the travel back and forth like that is. It can wear on you. For the Carolina Hurricanes, not quite an issue, which is pretty cool. And then off the ice, they're doing deals as well as they announced an extension for Mark Jankowski, 2 years. Wheeling and dealing, hey, Duke, on and off the ice. Fun to see. I mean, pretty good time to sign, too. Like, hey, Mark, we're crushing teams in the playoffs. Do you want to hang around for a little bit? Yeah, I do. Let's get rid of that. Let's take care of business. This is a fun place to be. And for the Carolina Hurricanes, all things looking pretty good. Some other news and notes from around the sporting world. Shane Doan and the Toronto Maple Leafs mutually parting ways. You also have
Not
Giannis.
very surprising.
Yeah, that's a new regime.
A
coming in
little
here.
bit of, and there's history between him and John Tyka
Yeah,
from the
good point.
Coyotes days, where essentially upon retirement, and Schlemmer was telling this story last week, that Doan retires, says, "Hey, I'd love to be a part of the organization, whatever role you want for me. I just want to help move hockey forward in the desert, yada, yada, yada." And Chyka essentially said, "Yeah, we'll pass." I mean, he's the biggest name in franchise history, icon. Just a little bit of an insane thing to do in retrospect. And I shouldn't even say retrospect, because in real time, when this news came out, pretty much everyone in the hockey world said, "What? You don't want to have Shane Doan around in any capacity?" A little bit of an odd choice.
It really is, because every other franchise in the NHL would welcome a guy like that to the, whatever it might be, front office, any sort of thing to learn. No, not that regime with the Coyotes. How many games did he suit up for with the Coyotes organization?
I was going
1,500.
to say a lot.
1,540 plus playoffs. Let's just say 1,600. Just under.
Yeah, they didn't play a ton of playoff games.
He didn't. That had one good run.
Well, run to the West Final. They lost to the eventual Cup champion Kings. Mike Smith, legend.
Yeah, absolutely.
David Schlemko,
Legend. In his career, playoff and regular season, 1,000 points.
Not too shabby.
Not too shabby. But yes, I would have loved to be in the room. I don't even know if it got to that point where Scheika walks in and Doan's at his desk. They just stare at each other. Well, I'm out. No, thank you. I think a few other teams would probably like to take Shane Doan into their front office and under their wings. Minnesota Vikings going to honor Adrian Peterson, Duke, in the Ring of Honor. A no-brainer there is probably just when AP, or AD as they call him, decided to hang him up. You're a little younger than I. Where does Adrian Peterson rank for you in your greatest running backs? Is he the GOAT?
For football that I have watched in real time, I think he's probably the most dominant that I've seen, right? And, he's an MVP. I caught kind of just getting into football to start was still LaDainian Tomlinson ripping it up with the Chargers, and then his last couple of years of his career as well. But I think, yeah, from what I've seen, all things considered, obviously has everything except the Super Bowl hardware. If we're talking individual accolades, he's accomplished it all. I think he'd probably be the best running back I've ever seen.
I mean, when he broke onto the scene out of Oklahoma, he was just an absolute beast. I think he broke the single game record, or the rookie record, against the Chargers. Now, that record could be broken. Antonio Cromartie in that same game set a record that will never be broken for the longest play in football. It was essentially out the back of the end zone when he caught it and took it to the house, for those of you that remember. But Adrian Peterson was an absolute dog for the Vikings, tore his ACL and then came back and almost broke the single season rushing record right down to the final week of the season. Now, here's the question, Duke. Can you name all the teams that he played for? Because it became a bit of a suitcase down to the end.
Okay, Adrian Peterson played for the Vikings.
Yes.
He played for the Saints.
Yes.
Played for the Cardinals.
You got it.
Oh boy, I might be running out. I'm just trying to go burn through divisions really quickly.
So you got his first three. I will tell you, the Saints, I kind of forgot about.
He didn't play for the Jets.
Not the Jets, no.
Okay, I'm out.
So Washington.
All right.
The Detroit Lions, Tennessee Titans, and Seattle Seahawks.
Oh, see, Seahawks I was him and Han on that one, but I was like, come on. No, that can't be right. And those other, no sniff on those other teams. I even thought about inside the NFC North, we see, quarterbacks bounce around in there sometimes.
Yeah.
No, I never would have got the Lions.
No, he it kind of fell off. He had a good year with the Commanders in 2018. In 2017, like you mentioned, the Cards and the Saints, not great. And then it just kind of dwindled away. He had 11 carries in one game for the Seattle Seahawks, and that was it. But man, when he was at his peak, he was an absolute stud, and he burst onto the scene at Oklahoma. As a freshman, he rushed for just under 2,000 yards. And we always remember. Well, I say we always remember, and then I question it. The Fiesta Bowl, I think, against Boise State, Zabransky and Ian Moore or something like that. Great game. Boise State won, but Adrian Peterson, I think, in his first carry in overtime, took it to the house. And I think that's when Boise State's like, hey, we got to do everything we can to not let them have the ball back. We just have to end this game right here. Text line's 1-833-401-1440 if you'd like to get in the conversation. Husk says, CH, the Leafs are such a dumpster fire. They'll screw up the first pick, and the new hires will continue the trend. How long do you think Scheike lasts with the Leafs? I'll say 4 years. That, I think this year was kind of a one-off. I think they'll be better next year. But if you can't get over the hump, at some point you got to make that change. Unless there's things that are similar to what happened in Arizona, which I would assume he's learned from his lessons. I don't think Gavin McKenna's going to be doing private workouts that are not allowed. But I'm going to say 4 seasons, so 2030. That's crazy.
Oh, it's tough to comprehend.
That's a thing. What do you think, Duke? How long do you think he's got there?
Yeah, I think 4 or 5 years is very reasonable. I'll ask you this question, Connor. I asked it to Kevin a week ago. Essentially, when this hire happened, the debacle of a news conference right before they end up securing the first overall pick via draft lottery. Is there any part of you, because it's kind of human nature to root for an underdog, and I don't know if John Chaykin can really be considered an underdog, but when every single person seems to be against you having success, there's just something about it. They say, you know what? Maybe I do want to see him work it out. Doesn't help that it's with the Maple Leafs, so everyone's, poo-pooing on it, saying the Leafs suck and this, you want them to fail. I'm kind of, I had turned the corner where I was to the point, I was like, I would personally like to see this guy succeed because of how much negative backlash he's getting. And that's just the human spirit. To me, then they turn around and win the draft lottery. And that kind of dissipated pretty quickly. It was like, I don't really care anymore if he has success or not. Is being handed a pretty good starting hand out of the deck. Let's see how he plays it. Starting with who they select at first overall. If they select it first overall, could they trade it? I doubt it. I think 4 or 5 years is fine. Like we know the average lifespan of a head coach in the NHL. What's the average job span? He needs so dark and drastic about it. What's the average job span of a general manager in the NHL?
And yeah, I mean, 2 head coaches. Usually, is that fair?
And especially, is there a chance he keeps Craig Berube?
Maybe for a year, because that buys him another hire.
If nothing else, it's another weapon in your holster to say, well, listen, we know he's a good coach, Stanley Cup winning coach. We wanted to give him another look with a change in roster, change in approach. If it doesn't work, say, well, he wasn't my guy. I didn't hire him. I just didn't fire him one more year on this, what is certainly very expensive contract that Keith Pelly and the rest of MLSE have to foot the bill for.
Yeah. You guys good for it? Yeah. I mean, I guess we'll wait and see, but I think he'll keep him around for another year just to buy him some more time and turn this thing around probably the way he wants to. MTR had a text here as well. So it's probably a slap in the face that he fires, or, Dolan moves on now. Scheike is going to work so closely with Matt Sundin. Do you think that Sundin hire was like, this is happening, you don't have a say? Or do you think that Scheike went out there and did a search? Because I kind of feel like this was like, he's going to be here in one way or another. He's helping out now. Yeah,
that would be my inclination. If I had to pick one hard line or the other, I would take the former, where you say, Matt Sundin is going to be involved in this front office. Full stop. Are you still interested in the job? And I don't know why that would deter anybody from wanting to take the job. By all accounts, he's really good guy. Obviously a Maple Leafs icon and legend. Little inexperienced at this stage. He was part of the group that put together, I think, the Olympic team for Sweden. It was the Olympics or 4 Nations, maybe both. But outside of that national team experience, he, nothing in the NHL front office wise. So it might just be an extra set of eyes, a little bit of traditional hockey insight to go with all the analytics driven stuff that John Chayka is well known for. I also think there was maybe in the interviews, what do you think about a guy like Matt Sundin coming in? And it'd maybe be hard for Chayka to assess because has he ever even met Matt Sundin before? I don't know. Wouldn't surprise me if he hadn't. Where would they cross paths? I don't know. So, I have to think that they probably told him this is happening. Find a spot to work him in and have him be a part of your decision-making process.
Yeah, and almost feel like a buffer as well. Your people don't love you.
It's a human shield is essentially what it is for the press conference announcement.
Yeah.
Because here's John Chayka. None of you like him. Steve Simmons in particular does not seem to care for this hire based on his line of questioning. But we also have Matt Sundin. Remember him?
Most beloved Leaf in a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was a great Hall of Famer. Like, he's an unbelievable player. Let's just drop him in there and he can help out. And maybe I'm sure there'll be a lot of opportunities for Matt Sundin to be out in the public and, face media in that way. But he's also got to be, I think, consulted with on some of the decision making, because I do think, you're around the biz that long, you're going to have some insight. But like you say, I'm scrolling through here, not seeing much when it comes to management. So it's going to be a team to watch. We'll take a break here. When we come back, we got a text from Darcy, Joe Daddy, Northside Lou, and more. You can keep those rolling in. 1-833-401-1440. It's Fantasy Frenzy, streaming on YouTube, Facebook, X, Instagram, and Twitch. Brought to you by Wilhock Beef Jerky.
Performance by Action Electrical today. Their projects team kicked things off, designing and building with unmatched skill.
Then the service team swoops in for those crucial repairs and maintenance. And don't forget the testing team, ensuring everything's safe and sound before the solar team scores with sustainable energy.
A complete team effort. Have Action Electrical bring home a win for you and your project. Visit actionelectrical.net.
What if you could hire motivated, safety-trained youth with no risk and funding to support you? At Careers The Next Generation, we make hiring easy with funded internships across Alberta in trades, IT, forestry, and more. Interns are WCB covered, complete high school accredited safety trained, and arrive ready to contribute from day one. With 42% of RAP students completing their apprenticeship by age 22, you get skilled workers faster. Spots are filling up. Visit careersnextgen.ca today.
Hear that? That's your entry calling. Go Auto is sending you to the biggest football event in the world, live in Vancouver, with tickets, flights, and a hotel stay for two. To enter the contest, just text GAME to 780-777-7777. That's GAME to 780 all sevens. Go Auto, get in the game.
In Alberta, every family has a baseball game day tradition for the summer.
We always bring our gloves to the ballpark.
We always keep score.
We always bring Wilhock Beef Jerky.
Some things change, but the best home run snack never does.
Wilhock Beef Jerky.
Whether you're watching from your recliner or the stands, make it a part of your summer ball game tradition.
Wilhock Beef Jerky, because you don't win games with salad. Only available in Leduc.
Hey there, I'm in the Fountain Tire sidecar, making a list of the things I'm doing this spring. 1. Saving you money, with up to 20% off select tires until June 13th. 2. Water skiing, tricky in a sidecar, but fun. And 3. Saving you more money, with mail-in rebates of up to $100 off a set of 4 select tires and $50 off a $150 service with the purchase of 4 select tires. Oh, that's 4 things. Oh well, restrictions apply. Book online at fountaintire.com. Fountain Tire. We're on this road together, Canada.
Your all-access pass to the world of sports is Edmonton's only sports radio station.
From pre- and post-game hockey shows to in-depth analysis from your favorite commentators, the action never stops on Sports 1440.
Alan Olson Auctions presents the first annual Camrose Consignment Auction. Open now for online bidding through May 12th at alanolsonauction.com. This huge 2-ring auction includes sales for Camrose Auto Wreckers, Bow Rain Holdings, and a large variety of farm equipment, lumber, automotives, livestock handling equipment, and miscellaneous items. And includes a partial dispersal for A1 Septic and a closeout sale for anytime towing. For more info, call Alan Olson Auctions at 780-672-2434 or visit alanolsonauction.com today.
For over 60 years, the folks at Diablo Boots have been selling the best Canadian-made boots. Handcrafted in Winnipeg, Canada West makes the best quality cowboy, biker, and work boots for Diablo Boots with replaceable soles and heels. Why buy cheaper quality like Ariat, Justin, and Red Wing made in China when Canadian-made is better? Support Canada's workers and Diablo Boots for the best boots. So save on boots by Save On Foods. That's Diablo Boots, 3340 Gateway Boulevard on the east side of Save On Foods. Canada West and Diablo Boots, the 2 best names in the boots business.
Get the inside scoop for your team on Fantasy Frenzy with Halley and Douglas on Sports 1440.
Presented by Wilhock Beef Jerky, home of Alberta's best beef jerky.
It's 11:24. Welcome back to Fantasy Frenzy here on Sports 1440. More friggin' cowbell, boys. It's Monday from Greater Man J. Yes. Classic SNL skit. Is SNL funny? Again, like sometimes I watch reels on Facebook.
Just in general, is SNL funny?
Well, I feel like it had a bit of a drop off, but this is a new cast. They seem like they're actually pretty decent. I don't know how accurate. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I've changed. But
are you watching the SNL UK skits?
Nope.
I could see that being fun.
UK?
Yeah, like the UK has a SNL now.
Oh, really? No.
Yeah.
I don't find that funny.
I find a lot of British humor quite funny.
You like The Office from England?
I've never seen it, to be honest, but some other British sitcoms that I've seen, most notably The In-Betweeners.
Yeah.
It is one of the funniest TV shows I've ever seen. And even stuff like and it's a little bit older, obviously, but like Monty Python, right? Stuff like that, I can find a lot of humor in it.
Well, maybe you got to dabble in it a little more.
Maybe I'll have to further look into watching a full episode of SNL UK.
You definitely should. I'm talking about the North American one, but I don't know. It just like gets in my algorithm now, so it pops up, and they have like these three guys. I kind of feel like they're the new Lonely Island. They don't do as much music, but they do pretty funny ones. I'll show you a couple. That's interesting. It's Fantasy Frenzy, brought to you by Will Hawk Beef Jerky, home of Alberta's best beef jerky, online, willhawkbeefjerky.com. Go pay him a visit. Only available in Leduc. We're going to get to some of your texts here at 1-833-401-1440. This segment is brought to you by elksnation.ca, 2 weekly podcasts with Eddie Steele and Declan Kruger breaking down the green and gold. You also get articles and more. elksnation.ca. The boys doing an episode today, so it should be out later today or tomorrow. Training camp underway for the green and gold. I think I'm going to get out there for one of these days. It's 9, so I can get out there. You can still make it in for Fantasy Frenzy.
Wow.
I just have to leave a little early, but I'm probably going to get out there. And then they got like the fun day next Monday. Wasn't intending to rhyme, but
Fun Day Monday.
I can rhyme day with day. Yeah, it should be. It's out in Spruce Grove. I'm looking forward to it. Might take Benny, although the weather might not be the best, but whatever.
Endure.
Okay. I'm going to do my best to read this properly. Darcy, I hope the grammar is good. Good morning, guys. There's a debate on the GM. I think Bowman answers the debate himself 3 years ago. Oil go to game 7, 1 goal away. At that point, the only thing on his mind should be extensions and contracts. Well, that would have been before Bowman, right?
Yeah.
For the guys that got you there, and maybe 1 or 2 small tweaks like other winning teams do. But no, he does not do that. Then they fail next year in game 6. Now the failures before are starting to show its ugly face. And now his failures and inability to improve the team the last 2 years produced these last 2 playoffs. Now I know the money is an issue, but it is in fact his and last GM's fault that have created this problem. Bowman has gone from the waiting pool to the deep end over his head. It's time. There really shouldn't be a debate. Thanks. Well, what I would say, Darcy, is that, as you know, you talked about this in the last GM, you could put a little, I think, blame on Ken Holland, who didn't have a new contract, but, didn't get a deal done for Dylan Holloway or Philip Broberg. I think you kind of mentioned, insinuated those guys in there. Then Jackson came in that offseason, put money elsewhere, and had he moved by Armstrong of the St. Louis Blues at the time to throw a couple offer sheets the Oilers' way. I know a lot of you wanted them to match. I think in that week I went back and forth on every scenario I could, but they didn't, and they lost those guys. At that point, Bowman had some tough decisions to make, and you're right. But hey, it's tough to go back to back to the Stanley Cup Finals, and we've seen it with the Panthers with 3 years and the Tampa Bay Lightning, obviously. But I don't know, Duke. Is it a failure for this management staff to have the season go the way it did? Like you had 4 injuries down the middle. I know that's people say that's an excuse. Sure, it's also a fact. Their depth down the middle was injured. You want to say that they didn't do anything in goaltending? A good enough job with that? I'm on board. I didn't love the trade when it happened, especially when you're throwing away Kulak for a lateral move with the goalie who's going to be around longer. We said it on this show. We didn't love that move. We thought if you're going to upgrade, clear upgrade. I don't think they did so. Some of the signings, not all terrible. Like Szymanski worked out okay, but there were some bad ones. So I don't know, Duke. What are you on the side of a failure for the last couple of years here?
Well, I just think it's hard to point a finger at a single individual because, yeah, the Tristan Jarry trade is poor, right? There's really no sugarcoating it. You can obviously hope for a bounce back season, but even at that point, you say, well, you did give up the extra pick, a defenseman that once again is trying to punch his way into a Western Conference final, playing for a contending team, that obviously being Brett Kulak. But Stan Bowman has made some good moves too. Right. Obviously, the Vasily Podkolzin addition and extension comes into play here. The trade deadline work he did this season, getting Connor Murphy, Jason Dickinson, and Colton Dock, all proved impact players down the stretch and in the playoffs, especially where Dickinson was as hurt as anybody, maybe even more so, still finding a way to play and try and touch the game in some element. But there's plenty of missteps. Mangiapane signing, the extensions maybe a little prematurely for Jake Wallman in particular. I know it's unpopular, but I think the Matthias Ekholm situation falls into a similar camp. Sure, you would have brought him back regardless, but term, price, whatever, right? Set that even on the side burner for the time being. But as you said, some of these other moves the summer previous were done before he was on the job. He essentially took over and then immediately was greeted with, oh, by the way, we have these two RFAs. They both just played pretty growing roles in our playoff run to a Game 7 Stanley Cup final loss. And they're both former first-round draft picks. They need new deals. We don't have any money because Jeff Jackson, already spent it all. And then if you go previous to Jeff Jackson, yeah, Ken Holland has to share part of that as well. And when you're a contending team, which the Oilers have been, your thoughts about the future are much less prominent than the right now. You had this conversation with Kevin this morning, Connor, talking about the LA Rams and their first-round draft pick on Ty Simpson this year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's great looking towards the future, but you're a team that Super Bowl window is right here, right now. Wouldn't you want to help that in this case? So let's take that approach to the Oilers. And I know football and drafting players is different because they do help immediately. It's rare for that unless you're top-end pick in the NHL. Would have you rather Ken Holland, held on to some more draft picks? Maybe traded some of them away a little more judiciously. I'll hear that argument in this, and you can say the same for Bowman and Trucks, or the picks that got traded for Wallman, Dickinson, Murphy, etc. But I just think it's almost shared in this era of Oilers hockey, where the fall off and to use Connor and Leon's own words, saying taking a step backwards, where that blame goes, whose feet is it at? I don't think it's just one person. I don't think it's just Stan Bowman. I think it's just Jeff Jackson. I don't think it's just Chris Knobloch or just the players. It's shared. And that's the reality of sport. It's not fun. It's not controversial to say that. Every individual there could have done their job better at some point to put this team in a better position to succeed in these year's playoffs and moving forward.
Yeah. I mean, we could always look back with 2020 vision and should have done this, shouldn't have done that. I've been in this industry now long enough to go back to 2019, 2020 when there's a lot of pressure. Oh, we got to make these moves. We got to trade that first round pick. And I remember Struddy saying, no guys, the window's not here yet. There's going to be a time when you do it, but it's not here yet. And they ramped it up. They did trade away first round picks eventually, and it was, it's not easy, I think, to be the GM of an NHL team, and people are always going to question your moves. I am with you, and Podkolzin was good. After that, not too much. I think.
You got Connor Ingram for nothing.
You got Ingram for nothing. That those things do pop up. Wallman and the first for Carl Berglund. Yeah, it's hey, we'll wait and see. But I don't know. I'd like to hear your thoughts. 1-833-401-1440. What do you guys think? Would you rate the last couple of years as a failure for Stan Bowman? Got back. Greaterman Jay says, well, Frederick, 8 years.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
I would say my biggest criticism would be the contract extensions. The 8 years to me just blew my mind. I said it, in my opinion, I would have waited on Ekholm and Wallman before I would have re-signed. Now, maybe they would not have loved that, the players. And I'm sure their agent was probably pushing to get the contract negotiations moved at any point. But it didn't have to come that quickly. I would have wanted to see half a season from Matthias Ekholm, just to see how he looks coming off that injury. For Wallman, same sort of thing. let's just wait and see. 7 years for a Malman, that's $7 million. That's taken him till he is 37, I believe. MTR says, Podkolzin move was good, but wasn't the move made basically after the Holloway debacle?
Yes, it was certainly looked at as a potential replacement for him.
But, I mean, as an individual move, it was great. That was a heck of a move. Canucks fans absolutely hate it. Every time he did something good this year, I saw it popping up like, oh, we let that guy go for nothing.
Who, by the way, was a top 10 pick.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. So, we'll wait and see. Gretterman J says, you make your bed, you lie in it. 100%. Nails, who would you guys sign him free agent-wise? Like for the Oilers free agents or the entirety of the market? If it's me, I'm trying to lock up, and it has to be, essentially team-friendly deals. But Connor Murphy, I want back. Dickinson. Those two for sure.
I would even put a guy like Kasperi Kapanen.
Oh, yeah.
Above the likes of Dickinson. And then, depending on what else can be found or figured out goaltending-wise, I would have Connor Ingram back. But that might come on the fact that you can find a way to move on from Tristan Jarry and find a different goaltending tandem partner to go with Ingram. But if you can and you're stuck with Jarry, that's tough. Ingram will probably come cheaper than a lot of other options, and that are out. And talk about you have to acquire them via trade, so you give up assets because the free agent goalie market, there's nothing to write home about. I'm sorry, Sergei Bobrovsky's not coming here. So, what else is out there? Once again, not a lot of tangible upgrades, which is an important phrase that I think is worth repeating over and over again when we talk about the Oilers goaltending.
Yeah. Maybe I'm just looking at this the wrong way, but I feel like if you're trading away Tristan Jarry, you're giving up something for someone to take him on.
Unless you take on a bad deal the other way as well.
And then
where are you?
You're
back to square one.
You're not clearing up cap space, and you're just kind of in that same situation. Maybe hoping. It's maybe that like James Neal, Milan Lucic deal where two teams just try to swap and hope a new place helps them. But yeah, Adam Henrique, I think at this point I'd be okay with him walking. Jack Roslovic, I'd have a conversation, see what they think. But Kapanen, I want to bring back for sure. Max Jones, if he's got nowhere else than like $1 million, have him up and down.
And he's comfortable being up and down, like spot duty. Because especially in the back half of the season, I thought he made a positive impact to the lineup each time he was in it. And that's not an easy thing to do for a guy that's in and out, maybe spends a week in the press box and jumps in for a game or two, then down to Bakersfield for another 2+ weeks and then comes back and plays. That is a skill in and of itself. And I think he's shown an ability to do it. I'm not sure he's a everyday lineup guy at this point for the Oilers. Could he be on the fourth line? I think they probably already got enough bodies on that front. But yeah, on a $1 million deal with a two-way, interested without a doubt.
For sure.
And the same could be said for the likes of Curtis Lazar as well. Gives you a little bit of versatility on the fourth line, can play center, right-handed, can kill penalties. Like that's a good attribute. Same thing. You're not breaking the bank for him. And at this point in his career, I don't think he would expect that either. Definitely a player I would bring back.
Yeah, for sure. And I think understanding his role can be that 13th forward. And like you said about Max Jones, I'm not going to ask him to do it for 3 weeks at a time, but when he gets dropped in there, make an impact in your bottom six, I think he could do that. Cameron says, so you're basically bringing back the same team. Well, no, I don't think I'd say the same team. Also, I will say, Cameron, I think if this Edmonton Oilers team is healthy, I think that's a different series. But no, Henrique's gone, Rostovic's gone. So you got a couple pieces there to upgrade. On the back end, you have 4 guys under contract for a long time. That's not changing.
Yeah.
Unless somehow you can convince Darnell Nurse to waive his no movement clause. You got Ty Emerson back. You got 5 of your 6 defensemen ready to roll once again. And I think you want Connor Murphy back.
I know I do.
I think a lot of fans would agree. I'd say for the right price, of course.
And once again, term. Don't be giving him a 7-year deal, even if it's at $3 million a year. Just pay him $4.5 million for 2 years.
But a lot of guys, you're hoping from growth, right? From Savoy, and maybe
Ike Howard.
Ike Howard makes a return to the NHL next year and takes that step that's avoided. Szymanski, a guy who will be counted on, I think, this upcoming season in the bottom 6. And for me, it's just got to figure out that goaltending position.
And to Cameron's text specifically, do you want to turn over half the roster? Is that not the exact same thing that previous texter was just, I think it was Darcy's, was condemning? Yeah, the Oilers lost in the first round this year, but look at the players you could replace. It's like the free agent ones, for example. Are any of them the reason you didn't win in the playoffs? Dickinson hurt, otherwise had a pretty good positive impact on this team. Connor Murphy, he was the best defenseman in the playoffs for the team. Set aside Evan Bouchard's point production. It came in 2 games, essentially. Kasperi Kapanen, who's maybe your second best playoff player after Podkolzin. So you've already, to go back to another phrase that's already been used in the text line, you made the bed, you have to lie in it. You locked these players up. Moving them is suddenly difficult. I don't think the performance of some of these depth guys was the reason you lost in the playoffs. Jack Roslovic did not produce. That's kind of on par with his track record in his career so far. That's why, would you have him back? Sure, but I'm not super motivated to be going down that road. I think you look at Ike Howard as a potential replacement for him inside your top 9 as a scoring player.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Because Roslovic doesn't do anything else, right? He doesn't kill penalties. I suppose he could play center, but I don't think he did very much, if any at all, for most of this season. I think of a few games here and there. So I just think the idea of turning over a roster in such short order is viewed as the solution to this. It's less continuity.
Yeah, I think it'd be more we're not changing too much. You're a team that, again, had the injuries. There's other concerns, but that played a big role in the first round. Outside of that, you've been to 2 straight Stanley Cup finals. I'd be tinkering more than big changes here. I will take a break here. When we come back, more texts on the Oilers. Lots starting to roll in here. We'll get to those. It's Fantasy Frenzy, brought to you by Wilhauk Beef Jerky.
A lot of you love hockey season. Well, when it comes to construction season, you're not as excited unless you work for GS Construction. It's true. As one season is winding down, ours is winding up with all sorts of great projects to make the city we live in better. And our team is hiring. GS Construction is scouting for pipe layers, topmen, and heavy equipment operators. So if you want to score a great job, visit gsconstruction.ca today.
When my husband and I said until death do us part, I never expected to find myself at the doorstep of divorce. I was facing an uncertain financial future, expensive lawyer bills, and most importantly, I was concerned for the well-being of my kids. My spouse and I turned to Fairway Divorce Solutions for help. Fairway walked us through a step-by-step process, allowing us to develop a clear roadmap to resolve financial concerns and provide a proactive co-parenting strategy. It helped us avoid chaos and courtrooms.
For a no-cost consultation, visit fairwaydivorce.com.
At Hughes, it's all about getting in and out quick and clean. No cash, no problem. With Hughes' new tap and wash system, all you need is your debit or credit card to get your vehicle sparkling clean.
Find us at HughesCarWash.com.
Albertans love to tailgate before the big game.
Gotta have burgers.
Hot dogs, obviously. You're both missing out. Wilhauk Beef Jerky is the real MVP.
When it comes to tailgate snacks, there's only one unanimous pick.
Wilhauk Beef Jerky. No barbecue required. Wilhauk is ready to eat before we head to our seats.
Bring it to your next football tailgate.
Wilhauk Beef Jerky. Because you don't win games with salad. Only available in Leduc.
Good to go. With Mortgages to Go, you'll be good to go. MortgagesToGo.ca says yes when the banks say no. That's why Alberta has trusted Mortgages to Go for over 23 years. If you need cash and have equity in your home, you're approved instantly, guaranteed. Call 1-888-888-5998. That's 1-888-888-5998. With Mortgages to Go, you'll say, I'm good to go.
A huge thank you for making Sports 1440 the most listened to sports radio station in Edmonton. From Gregor to Carius to Low Tide, we've got in-depth analysis on all your favorite sports. We are Sports 1440.
The funny thing about hitting the road to leave it all behind is you don't really want to leave it all behind. So Sherwood Honda has the SUV with plenty of room for all you want with you. Think Honda CR-V, the Honda Pilot, or maybe even a Ridgeline truck. With this kind of lineup, you can go where you want and bring all you want with you. You sure would make it easy to leave your cares behind by starting at Sherwood Honda.
Think a quality golf cart is out of your budget? Think again. At the Golf Cart People, we have a fantastic selection of fully inspected, pre-owned carts starting at just $4,500. Choose from gas, electric, or lithium-ion power to fit your lifestyle. And the best part, every used cart comes with a 1-year warranty for total peace of mind. Why wait? Get the cart you've always wanted today. Visit the Golf Cart People. Find out more at golfcartpeople.com.
Every coach needs a game plan. Plan your fantasy frenzy with Halley and Douglas right here on Edmonton's Sports 1440.
Presented by Wilhauk Beef Jerky, home of Alberta's best beef jerky.
$11:46. Welcome back. It is Fantasy Frenzy here on Sports 1440, brought to you by Wilhauk Beef Jerky, the home of Alberta's best beef jerky. Connor Halley, Brandon Douglas, Josh Fenwick with you. Coming up next, it is the Lowdown Flow Tide Monday edition. Rachel Krychuk and Jason Greger will join him on the show along with Declan Kruger. And then at 2 o'clock, it is the Jason Greger Show. We'll be joined by our co-host, former NHLer Sean Brown, also Kevin Woodley of In Goal Magazine. We'll talk some basketball, look around the NHL, and more from 2 until 6. And then Duke, we got Blue Jays baseball coming up after that, I would assume. No whiteboard to confirm it, but yes, Jays in action tonight, hosting the Rays. Gausman on the mound up against the man they call Rasmussen.
Not to be confused with Rasputin.
That's the way I was going for.
Yeah.
Some might say Rasmussen. I don't know. Who am I to say? But Jays coming into this one, slight favorites actually at home. That's interesting.
This is right after getting swept.
Yeah.
By the Rays last week. But keep in mind, the Jays never win at the Trop.
The Trop is a interesting spot.
You been?
No.
Any interest in going?
I'd go. Yeah. I think I'd go to a game down there. I like that it's in a dome. You know, it's really hot down there. Would you go? Have you been?
I've never been anywhere. Sorry, that's a lie. I have been to one Major League Baseball field.
Which one?
Coors Field.
Colorado?
Denver CO.
You could probably hit a home run there, hey?
Well, it's pretty deep. The thin air only helps guys so much. And keep in mind, I'm just a boy. I'm a fat little boy.
Text line is 1-833-401-1440. MTR says, Connor Halley, I'd love to know your thoughts on the Chargers ringing Njoku. I think it's a home run move. Fan and junior fantasy stock rising too, I think. MTR, I would agree with you. I mean, we're on this show a big fan of Fannin Jr. ever since he was selected last year by the Browns. They got to get that quarterback position figured out, but I really do like it for the Chargers. Gadsden's a good receiving target. They've got Kolar, who's a good blocker. I think Njoku can do both, and I think he'll slide in quite well. Guy's been a freak in the past, so I do think it's good. I don't know if I'm looking at starting him at the tight end position in any fantasy leagues, but I do think for a football move on the field, I think it's a very good one. Let's get to some more texts here. Gretzky was saying Max Jones is the best player in Baco. Probably not Wayne, probably Keith. Yeah. I would bury
the lead there.
Max Jones, yeah, he flies around out there. Like I thought in his limited action with the Oilers, he's a good player. Like, that's the kind of guy you want. And then
noticeable in a positive aspect from a fourth line player.
Especially in the playoffs,
that's
too.
not something you've been able to say a lot about Oilers' fourth lines in recent years, apart from maybe their work on penalty kills and such. But Curtis Lazar, Max Jones, and then later in the season, got like Colton Dock and Josh Szymanski at times. Yeah, the depth of the Oilers, I don't think that's what let them down this year. And I really don't think their goaltending in the playoffs is what let them down either. Was Connor Ingram spectacular? No. But Tristan Jarry started the game. Was he terrible in that game? No. But neither were good enough to win, even when the other team's goaltender was also not very good. It's just between the injuries and then your best players not playing like your best players, even the ones that weren't injured. Yeah, it was not enough to get past, the upstart young and hungry Ducks.
Well, and also 8 of 16 on the power play.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
That's a concern.
That same power play then started 0-11 before cashing in 2 last night, and it proved the difference. Like, it just goes to show for the Ducks, if they can get the power play going, they're a team to be reckoned with, and they looked very good in a bounce back performance after they kind of got whomped on Friday against Vegas.
No Stone.
It
that helps.
He's older, he's slower, but he's still a very gamey player. Great defensively, good stick, awesome instincts. That they missed him, no doubt about it last night.
Cat Dad had texted in and said, "How we just don't give out no trade clauses or no movement clauses? That'd be great, but it hurts the negotiation, right? Players want some security. They don't want to sign long term. Without that, I agree with you. I think they've been pretty quick to give those out, but I also understand
pretty fast and loose
when you're negotiating and you want to lock up a player. Sometimes you'll just do whatever it takes." Joe Daddy says, "Hey guys, what do you think about Norris? Think he gets a suspension for that sucker punch yesterday, right up there with Ridley Gregg?" It was pretty nasty.
It was pretty similar.
Yeah. But Greg was out, so it's like it's regular season next year, right?
Yeah.
So that changes things. But you set the bar. It's pretty much, like you said, pretty much the same. If it is, I'll say 1 game. What do you think?
Yeah, I'll agree. I'll say the same.
One game for that one. And then Wi-Fi. He had the pretty good one punch too. Jack Eye?
Yeah.
But not the same situation. Not a guy who's tied up. They were squared up.
Willing combatants.
He was just quicker, I suppose. If I've learned anything about boxing from Declan, you always got to be ready. You always got to keep the gloves up just in case. Ed in Father of Areas says, "So sad. 4 defensemen signed long term and the best defenseman is going to free agency." Well, that's probably where we're lying. But you got Evan Bouchard too. Like, defensive defenseman, yeah. Your best defensive defenseman for sure. Team Dean says 5-on-5, they were fine. Special teams killed them. Yep. That's what we said. 8 of 16. 5-on-5, I wouldn't. I mean,
they were fine, but
fine doesn't win you series, does it?
Not often.
Not when you're getting crushed.
Yeah, the Oilers' power
special
play
teams.
was not its usual prolific self, and its final percent is actually red fine. But against a pretty poor Ducks penalty kill for most of the season, you would have thought it'd be better. And yeah, their penalty kill was atrocious. So take those 2 things and it puts you behind the 8 ball. And then, yeah, the Ducks, even at 5-on-5, carried a lot of play in the series. Like, don't let a week and a half of revisionist history already fool you. Like, the Oilers did not deserve to win that series in really any element.
Northside Lucid, if you watch the other teams play structured hockey since playoffs began, I'm confident saying the only other team the Oilers may have beat were the Penguins. Well,
no, they would have beat the Kings.
Yeah, I think they probably could have handled the Kings. And then maybe the Sens. But yeah, I get what you're saying. Cameron says, any chance Clattenburg has a chance to make the team next year? I think he'll get an opportunity.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if he didn't, but if he doesn't, I think he's a guy that looking to get called up pretty quick as well.
He'd be one of the first guys tapped. Just based on the last time I saw, and listen, I never watched him in Bakersfield second half of the season, come back from injury, whatever. But from what I saw in his NHL time, like, he obviously endears himself to fans and teammates with his style of play. But some of the small things are like not quite at an NHL level. I'm talking like speed of reading the game when you have the puck on your stick, or when you're receiving passes and then making a play with it. Those, and listen, he's a very green player. and what he brings to the table, do you think you've maybe solved that, at least in the time being? Because you don't got a lot of open spots because of the contracts you already have doled out. Does a guy like Colton Dock have already helped that front where you say you've got a big physical presence lower in your lineup?
Thoughts on bringing back Vinny Desharnais, league min, 2-way deals, a 7th or 8th defenseman? In that situation, yeah, for sure. I mean, he probably wants to get a little more.
I'd be surprised if he's signing a 2-way deal.
Oh, hey, I'd be thrilled though, Duke. I think that'd be great. I don't think it'll happen at that low.
Lowtide's looking fresh.
Yeah, Lowtide's got a new haircut, nice shirt. Keep it locked.
Looks like
here.
he's on a holiday.
Go over to YouTube, Sports 1440 AM, and watch this show. You can see what Lowtide's looking like today. That music means we're done. Time for the 23-hour break. Up next, Let On with Lowtide, followed by the Jason Gregor Show. Then Jay's Baseball on the AM feed, Fox Sports Radio on the streaming feed. Before we hand things over, though, we'll get to a Sports 1440 update with the Duke, brought to you by Will Hawk Beef Jerky, home of Alberta's best beef jerky, online at willhawkbeefjerky.com, only available in Leduc.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Just one game in the Stanley Cup playoffs tonight. The Avalanche and Wild duke it out from Minnesota for game number 4. Avs with a 2-1 series lead. Puck drop coming just after 6 o'clock. Off the ice, Carolina Hurricanes, fresh off of advancing to the Eastern Conference Final, have extended forward Mark Jankowski on a new 2-year deal, carrying an AAV of $1.85 million. Veteran of over 480 NHL games, had 11 goals in 68 games for the Canes this past season. PWHL playoffs resuming action tonight. Minnesota and Montreal decisive game number 5. Winner will advance through and take on Ottawa in the Walter Cup Finals. Puck drop just after 5 o'clock from Montreal. In the association, Detroit and Cleveland, game number 4. Pistons with a 2-1 series lead, tip-off at 6. And then at 8:30, OKC tries to punch their ticket round to the Western Conference Finals. They lead the Lakers in the best of 7, 3 games to none. Lighter day in the majors. Several teams in transit, but the Blue Jays open a set at home against the Tampa Bay Rays. First pitch just after 5 o'clock with Kevin Gausman on the hill. You can catch that game right here on Sports 1440, joined in progress at the conclusion of the Jason Gregor Show. Elsewhere, Angels in Cleveland, Baltimore hosting the Yankees. D-backs play the Rangers, Houston up against the Mariners, and San Francisco heads down the coast to take on the Los Angeles Dodgers. Finally, from the NFL offseason, Pittsburgh Steelers agreeing to terms with kicker Chris Boswell on a new 4-year, $28 million extension. The $7 million AAV will time with Brandon Aubrey for the highest-paid kicker in NFL history. Coming up on Sports 1440, it is the Lowdown with Lowtide. I'm Brandon Douglas at your Sports